Hi everybody. Yeah, I know, it's been a couple of days with no videos, but there's been a really good reason for it. If you follow me on Twitter, @AMinerJourney, or you happen to follow the Transport Evolved Take 2 videos, you'll know that I'm on a road trip right now from Portland to LA. And the purpose of that is for an award ceremony that's taking place tonight in LA. I'm about 100 miles from LA now. I'm at Tejon Ranch, I think that's how you call it. And I've realized something about California and the west coast of the US in general. They do electric vehicle charging right, at least they do most of the time. A couple of years ago when we moved to the US, getting down the I-5 corridor was still a bit of a challenge. Even when we got the Chevrolet Bolt in 2017, it was still a challenge to get from Portland down to Grants Pass. So Portland, Oregon is right at the north end of the state. Grants Pass is right at the southern tip. And getting between the two used to be a bit of a pain because the only rapid chargers, or the majority of rapid chargers that were on the route were 20 to 25 kilowatt peak. And it meant that you spent a lot of time charging when you're on the road. This time, however, it's been incredibly different. So I am currently at the Tejon Ranch charging stations. There are 3 charge point units here. Each one is capable of both CCS and CHAdeMO. There's also a couple of level 2 charging stations, the green 2s as ChargeWay likes to call them. And I should note, not ChargePoint, ChargeWay. We're going to start promoting ChargeWay's numbering system in our videos. So if you were using the ChargeWay app, this would be a green 2. And then the one my car is using right now is a green 4. And the higher the number, the faster the charge. So over the way there is the Tesla supercharger at the Tejon Ranch, and there's like 24, 26 supercharger stalls there. There are cars there charging right now. Cars have been stopping here and charging. And it's really nice to see the big change that's happened in the last couple of years when it comes to charging stations and when it comes to charging station availability and also, most importantly, redundancy. It used to be that there was one charging station at random points along a route. If you were lucky, they were close enough together that you could easily get from one to the other. Back in 2017, that wasn't the case on I-5 between Portland and Grants Pass. You had to drive quite gingerly at points. Now it's a lot easier to drive at the speed limit or slightly above if you are so inclined. Don't break the rules, or break the rules at your own risk. The same has been true in California. You know, I've been sat at the speed limit pretty much the entire trip. The only exception to that, was last night when we were driving. When I was driving. That was the Royal We. When I was driving last night, I was able to stop at one charging station less than I would have done had I been going a little quicker. I didn't really want to feel too rushed. And for the most part, all of the charging stations I've stopped at have been super reliable. If you watch Take 2, you'll know last night we did hit a problem at an Electrify America charging station in Sacramento after I found my Airbnb and checked in. I went to the local Airbnb, the local Electrify America charging station. For some reason, it caused an error to flip up on my car, which meant that my car wouldn't even go into gear, wouldn't charge. I disconnected the 12-volt accessory battery and then reconnected it, and then I was able to go to another charging station where I was able to get the car charging, and then I popped back to the Electrify America unit later on and it was fine. Now the Electrify America units so far have been the fastest on my trip. They've been charging at 56 kilowatts. That's been the maximum power I've seen them put out, which is higher than Chevrolet actually acknowledges the Bolt can do. And I've talked to people who've said, yeah, 55, 56 does seem to be the Bolt's maximum. On paper, Chevy only says 50 kilowatts, and maybe Mr. Scott was right when he said a good engineer is always a wee bit conservative, especially on paper. So under promise and over deliver, I think, is what the case is for the rapid charging capabilities of the Bolt EV. These Trinitum charging stations, which are what ChargePoint uses, they're not going as high in terms of power output. They're not charging quite as quickly. So today I have spent longer charging than I would have done yesterday using the Electrify America charging stations. But still, I've got 3 units, which means, you know, I can have one of those go down and I know that I can still make the trip. And it's got me thinking, there really is no excuse if you live on the west coast of the US to not own an EV anymore, regardless of whether it's a Tesla or a Nissan or a Chevrolet. And I should point out, by the way, there are still more CHAdeMO charging stations in the US than there are CCS. And it's so simple and so easy to use. Yes, you do end up planning to have a slightly longer trip. You do have to have regular stops. But I'm able to drive for 3 or 4 hours, then stop and charge for an hour, then drive 3 or 4 hours and stop and charge. And it feels like that natural point for braking. It's a good chance for me to get my legs stretched, to have a bite to eat, and just to enjoy the area. I mean, this is really, really beautiful. It's about 83 degrees, I reckon, at the moment, which is the upper 20s Celsius. And it's really, really pretty, really pretty. And it's just been really eye-opening to just experience a good, positive road trip. I have covered more than 900 miles in less than 36 hours so far, which is mind-blowing. I'm going to arrive in LA hopefully around 4:30. I have an appointment at 5 and the award ceremony starts at 6. And then I'm straight back on the road tomorrow, heading back out. I know that there was a video I was going to do on some of the cars that we've owned. That is coming. There are some videos from Fully Charged Live that are still coming. Obviously, reaction to what's been going on in Frankfurt at the motor show. I think the Volkswagen ID.3 is a great looking car. I like the inside. It's not too fancy. It feels like it fits in that very functional market. I don't know if the price is going to be welcomed because it seems slightly higher than Volkswagen initially promised. There's also some talk about the supercharging, the high power charging for these cars. There you go, I'm using a Tesla term. And people saying, well, you know, these high powered charging should not be an additional add-on price. And you're quite right, they should be standard. High powered charging should be standard. But I should also remember, everyone, excuse me, obviously my hay fever's playing up. We have to remember that even Tesla, back in the early days of the Model S, supercharging was not standard on all cars. You had to add it as a feature. So it's not, you know, these days supercharging is included as standard. It didn't always used to be. That doesn't excuse other automakers from making the same mistake. Hopefully they'll learn, hopefully they'll increase the availability of rapid charging and then make it a standard fit item. It's not a standard fit item on this car. This car is an optional extra for CCS quick charging, and I think it should be a standard fit, so I'm agreeing there with everybody. The whole nonsense about the engine start-stop button is a bit pointless as far as I'm concerned. It may be a parts bin holdover. It starts the car, it stops the car. That's really all we need to worry about. And it feels like people are being a little bit picky, like the use of the word turbo in the Taycan. It's just a name. It's meant to, in the Taycan's sense, the turbo is meant to imply performance, and I think most people understand that. Yes, they could have chosen a better name, but let's stop focusing on the minutiae and start focusing on the good thing, which is more EVs on the market, more electric vehicles on the market. That has been my experience so far with the rapid charging. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Send us a couple of dollars every month through Patreon. We could really, really use it, really help us expand the business and make more content and do more things like this, go to more places. It makes it easier for us to do. Before anyone thinks that we put ourselves up in really expensive hotels, we don't. I stayed in an $80 Airbnb last night and I've been eating snacks on the road that I brought from home. So there we go. Send us a Ko-fi using Ko-fi, and as always, keep evolving.